Real quick before we get going, this is a commentary track I recorded back in 2010, so over 13 years ago, and it was included on DVD copies of the Nightly News at 9, Chapter 1. But who has a DVD player anymore, let alone a copy of Nightly News at 9? Anyway, enjoy the commentary. It's finally on YouTube. It only took 13 years.
Hello, and welcome to the commentary track. I am David M. Pickett, the writer, director, producer, animator, and so forth for the Nightly News at 9 with Phil and Sherry. I am trying to take up as much time as possible introducing this because I don't know what to say in this thing. I don't really watch commentaries on DVDs that much myself, but I know some people like them, so I thought I'd do one for all you out there who enjoy these. Here we go. I guess we've already begun, but right now the introduction stuff is happening on the screen uh, with the awesome theme song that my friend Curran and I put together. It was mostly him, but I had some, oversight. And now the show is beginning, and there's Phil and Sherry. Um, you should look up the characters Bill and Mary from the old idea book that Lego put out. Not that I'm associated with Lego, but obviously they have a big influence on the show because it's a big influence on me. Anyway, moving on to the sports part. I was really happy with how these crowd shots turned out. They took forever to do, as did that taking off the arms shot. I had to animate that one backwards because it's much easier to put arms on than to take them off smoothly. And these soccer shots, I think, turned out very nice looking, even though I don't ever watch sports. That scene where, right there, where Soccer Source is starting to come out of the field, I really wanted to do so you could see him, the field turning into him, but I sort of cut away because it was going to be way too hard and time consuming. And animation is already hard and time consuming, so I try to make it as easy and time giving as possible. But, sometimes I just make little compromises here and there. That scene with the prisoners running in every direction, that like 10-second scene right there, it took me about 3 hours to do because I had to move every individual prisoner separately. But I am very pleased with the way it turned out, so I do not regret that time. And here we get our first glimpse at Malifios, who I do the voice of. Who else do I do the voice of? Oh, I also did the voice of the sportscaster and pretty much, half of the characters because I like doing voices. And, it's always very easy to record yourself. Um, so, yeah. If you look over to the left side of the screen, you'll notice that stuff keeps moving around on the edge, like the little bleachers over there. It's hard to keep everything still in the background of these scenes, and I think that, if I was a professional animator, I'd probably go back and redo those shots so that stuff didn't happen, but I like to think that the little bumps and light flickers and stuff like that just give it a little touch so you know that a person was doing this. And that, yeah, you can see the bleachers really bump around a lot in this shot. Oh, there, it just jumped all the way over. What's going on over there? I don't know. Let's just say that off the screen there is, like, one of the prisoners who didn't quite get that far, or, one of the people's in the stand. They're sort of, like, moving the bleacher. So that's really supposed to be happening. And that's what's going on over there, is that there's a character off screen you can't see. See, now I'm not even talking about the shot. I'm just sort of making up a new story to go along with, to explain away all my little animating mistakes. But that's apparently what I do when I commentate. Is it just me, or is Robert's hair really shiny in this shot? I wanted to show Phil and Sherry being sort of intimate with their, touching hands in that shot, but, like right there, that little arm rub. But I don't know how well it translates, because then I just noticed how there's like a little hair sticking on Sherry's shirt. The thing about watching this in HD is the characters on the screen are larger than they are in real life, which I guess always happens in film. But when they're tiny, it's hard for my eyes to see all these little imperfections when I'm actually doing it, and then I watch it on a big screen, and it's all very clear. Robert is very shiny. Just must have had a lot of light. I tend to overlight things because I like things to be bright and bold, because I like bright, bold colors. You're not going to really see many shadows in any of my things, unless it's like an evil shadow come to destroy the city. Oh, and we're about to go to the commercial. Good. That'll have a lot to talk about. But it'll be short, and then I'll run out of time. So I'll start talking now. The commercial that I did for this evil school. Watch all the little people in line over here. Because, the guy in the very back, he has like a little Game Boy in his hand, and he starts playing with it right now. And I thought that was a nice little thing I added in. That prison, Stephanie thinks was ridiculous because I built up that whole big prison and it's only in the shot for like 2 seconds. In fact, it's already gone. Did the film just skip for anybody else? Uh-oh. That's probably not good. Well, hopefully it didn't for you, because that would be bad. Chains, very important. Never underestimate the power of love. It's powerful, and that may come back later. So I don't know how many of you were alive in the 90s when they had all those commercials for ICS or whatever it was, where you could earn your degree in one of these many areas. And it's so easy. You can learn about computers, which were new and fascinating back then. But, you can just Google, like, Sally Struthers commercials and understand what this parody is of. Oh, and now we're back! And Phil's asleep because he's a silly character like that. And it's sort of out of focus. And now it's dark. All these things I notice when I'm watching back through. But you don't want to hear about that. What do you want to hear about? Please tell me. Okay? Oh, Robophilia. She's one of my favorites. She's voiced by my friend Lila. And Lila just, took these lines, which I wrote, which were not very interesting, and added so much personality to her that I could not help but have Robophilia bouncing and twirling and all those little good things that she does all over the place. So she was a lot of fun to animate, I thought. And I really like the contrast in this this episode or chapter, scene, whatever you want to call it, between Robophilia's like animated, over bubbly speaking, and Persephone's very simple movements and straightforward comments. I think that the two of them are a good pairing, and I in fact have already thought of a spin-off that stars the two of them, but that will be years before that is even in production, so let's not talk about that. But, we're getting to the part where Malifios tries to destroy the city and fails several times. Malifios is very, very close to my heart. If I were any character in the Nightly News at 9, I would be Malifios, because I always have these grand ideas of plans, and they're very intricate, and sometimes they're so intricate that they just fall in and collapse upon themselves. But other times they, turn into something like this product that you are now watching and enjoying in the comfort of your own home. Isn't it amazing that, I made this thing and now you are enjoying it? And you are somewhere completely different than I am. The modern age is truly amazing. A peasant in medieval times would not even understand what we're talking about with all these planes. There we go. Anyway, moving on to the Octopus machine. It is holds a very dear place in my heart. Why wouldn't it? It's a machine that twirls octopi, around and around for no apparent reason. But, I like to think that, it really could have worked out for Malifios if only he had had 8 octopuses. I mean, really, who makes an Octopus machine with only 7 octopuses? Obviously, you need 8. That's the reason this machine failed. And if only he could have thought of that, he would have worked and destroyed the city, and then he would have gotten his degree and, lived happily ever after. But, that's not who he is, so he doesn't get to live like that. Someday, maybe he'll get what he wants, but, not till the end of the series, because otherwise there'd be no drama. And this cow is also dear to my heart because, I am a big fan of cows. I used to call myself the Cow Crusader back in elementary school. I even did a series of comics about the Cow Crusader and my friend, the Terrible Turkey, and all of our adventures. But, that's behind me now. But I still think cows are a great great source of humor. And also, I love how he actually writes out the note to himself. That was a shining moment for me. This flame flickering took a lot of energy, so I hope you appreciate it. Look at the flame, and it's flickering. Oh, and he got kicked by a cow. Oh, and now we're going to go back to the regular stuff. Notice that Robophilia is very strange in her things, that she'll pull this crystal off her head when she says the word destroy, because, she's just like that. And later, when she says destroy again, she'll knock the flowers off the table, mostly because I had forgot to put them in the later shots, which I had shot earlier, and I realized that the flowers could no longer be on the table. So the flowers are here now, and they keep getting moved because they're in the way. And then I decided to make them go away, so she hit them off. And sorry, I was just listening because Robophilia always enraptures me. Did I use that word correctly? Hopefully. Malifios. Our loyal viewers. See, she's breaking the fourth wall because that's what she does. And she'll continue to do that more and more in future episodes until she, starts creating plotline holes and jumping in and out of stories. But I'm just telling you things that won't even make sense for a long time. So let's just focus on what's going on. I really like the way she spins around like that. That took a lot of work. So I hope you appreciate it too. And then, we're about to go to the Pro Green commercial. This was actually the first part of this episode that I did. It was my first sort of test with my new camera and doing high definition. That was a new thing for me. If you'll notice, the flame gets cut in half in that last shot. And there's a wire in the left window. But, those little snafus aside, I think this looks very pretty. And I really like the way she kicks her feet there. And very green. And, I really like the idea of having colors have commercials that are in favor of them, sort of like politicians do. Because, for me, colors are, super important. So I like, in this world that I've created, colors are very powerful and influential. This little song, I wrote, and Rob did a pretty good job singing. I made some little music to go along with it. I think it's cute and adorable. And this episode, I had a lot of fun with because I got to make all these little crazy characters and crazy voices and stuff going on in the background, like that little scooter that just went by. And it's just sort of a lot of craziness that doesn't have to be explained or anything. You can see a little pinch bot in the background there. They'll be coming up in the next episode or chapter. Robots, which will be debuting in May, or did debut in May 2010 if you're in the future and watching this. These little villains that are playing up in the screen in the corner there, they'll come up in future chapters, I hope. But I've already planned out a lot of this in advance, so I'm trying to make as much of it happen with foreshadowing and whatnot. This animation of the farmer right here was done by Sean Carroll, who's a brick animator I met at Brick World last year, and we frequently send email messages and stuff to each other, and I asked him to do a little bit for the episode, and he was kind enough to agree, so got a little guest animation in there. I really like reusing the Octopus machine as this playground here, and I think that works out nicely. And I've got a little sun monster over to the left, which will be important in the future. And also this sing-along was sort of a last-minute thing, but it came together very nicely, and I had fun doing the bouncing ball of lyrics. Oh, this mushroom guy, he's like one of my favorites. Um, but this three-headed monster here is being voiced by myself, Eric Benson, who also does Phil Brickley and some other people, and Lila Pearl, who also does Report about Ophelia. So the three of us were together one weekend in New York, and I had written that up, and so we sang it out, and I think it turned out pretty well. And it keeps coming back and forth because it's funnier that way. Thank you, Stephanie, for pointing that out. My friend Veronica really wants to see Trifacto Jones come back in another episode, so I'm trying to figure out. I think we'll see Trifacto Jones in its like living room, but of course it will still be singing because it wouldn't be Trifacto Jones if it wasn't singing. I'm talking an awful lot, but I feel like, you have come to this commentary to hear me talk. So if I stop talking to breathe or, take a moment to enjoy the episode, that would just not be fair to you. And, I have watched some commentaries, and it's always really obnoxious when, they just sort of sit there silently and don't say anything for a while. And are just like, yep, there goes the episode. So I'm not going to do that to you, my loyal viewers who are watching this commentary. This is shot in front of the Lego town plan set, which has this nice little movie theater that has all these movie posters in the background. So that was a really nice set to have. And this crazy announcer voice, another one of Eric Benson's wonderful performances. Thought it turned out really well. You should listen to it again and again, and pick up all the nuances. Oh my god, the bipedal shark. I cannot say enough about the bipedal shark. He is perhaps the best thing about this show, because he is a shark with legs that just eats anything that's in front of it. I mean, what more could you want from a character, aside from legs and a gigantic mouth? Look at him. He's just adorable. We will see much more of him in the future. But, it's hard to do a lot with him because, so much of the episode is, dialogue. And he, of course, does not talk aside from going, narm, 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 narm. Which, is coherent to other bipedal sharks. But he is alone in the big city right now. So we'll delve into that more later. This part with Phil and Sherry is a lot brighter than the earlier stuff. That's because I actually animated it later than the other parts. The anti-green commercial. This one has probably the most well-known part of this episode. Thank you, Brothers Brick. I just love making fun of commercials and parodies and stuff like that. So, that meteor was a lot of fun to make. I love villains, so putting villains in is always great, and the fact that there's a tree that's a villain, I think, is hilarious. I got some of these green pieces here from this awesome person who works at the Lego store. She was very kind and helped me out. And Zandar Silverspine, another character that I do the voice of. I'm Zandar Silverspine, and I've broken into the commentary, lovelies. Oh, look at me on the screen with my tiny little arms that flail about, and my mouth. Oh, my mouth. Nobody else has a mouth like me. No, sir. And these little vignettes here are very delicious, and I'm not quite Zandar Silverspine. I'm sort of turning back into Dave Pickett right now. But yeah, Zandar was, there's a reason he's last, and that's because he is the hardest to animate, because I have to sync his mouth up, and he's got the little tail that moves, and, arms, so he's a lot more complicated than the little figurines and such. So, and I also, because it's a weather thing, I shoot him in front of a completely blue background, and then I use my editing software to pull the blue out, so it's transparent, and then I put the weather wall in the background, and that's how I'm able to animate stuff in the background that's different than what was actually there. So it's pretty complicated to put this stuff together, but I've gotten it, down so I can do it relatively quickly. And then if you look very closely at Robert Villain's tie here, it is actually a transparent hole because the tie was blue and I didn't notice that. So it got pulled out when I pulled out the blue screen. So you can sort of see the map through it in certain shots. But, this is, again, me not being a professional animator, so I do the best I can and hope that you all enjoy it as is and, all that good stuff. And I really like this where, you've got him and Malifios on screen at the same time in the background, so you can see how clear and obvious it is that Robert Villain is Malifios. If you haven't figured that out already, you should, because they are definitely the same person, and I'm not trying to make it a secret in any way. It should be very obvious that they are the same person. Phil Brickley will not figure that out for a long, long time, because he is not always the most observant person. But, and Zandar doesn't really care if they're the same person or not. He's more concerned about green and orange, so he's not really even paying attention to him. And I mean, can you blame him? I mean, green and orange are waging a war across continents that is destroying cities and all of that. And, Malifios, Robert, whoever he is just trying to destroy this one little city. And, this is, a crazy world, and that barely even rates for Zandar. So that's sort of where Zandar is coming from. But he and Robert will definitely be facing off a lot, in the coming episodes, because they're definitely sort of at opposite ends of the spectrum. Oh, and now we're back to Phil and Sherry. Oh, and this is where they have their vacation slides. That was really fun for me to do all these vacation slides coming up, because I got to make some crazy characters and locations that I didn't have to worry about animating or, making look good for more than one frame. And so that was a lot of fun. Of course, they're not on screen yet, but they should be soon. Oh, he's completely out of focus right there. My bad. Talking. But yeah, Phil and Sherry are going to argue a lot. They, they've been in a relationship for a long time. I don't know if they're married. I don't know if there is such thing as marriage in this world, but they're definitely in a committed relationship. And, they bicker, but I think, at their core, they really love each other and respect each other a lot. But, they just are both very opinionated people and, have to work out their differences together to put on the best show they can. So, and then, yeah, these are the vacation slots. I am running out of talking energy, but luckily the episode is almost over. Falafel Mafia. They are ridiculous. But soon, here comes the end. So I hope you enjoyed this commentary. I hope it was enlightening or entertaining or something else that begins with EN. But these are the credits, and you can see how much help I had from lots of other talented people. And I'm very thankful to them, since they gave me their time and talents without anything in return, since I can't pay anybody, since I'm not making much money from this, or really making any money, actually. But hopefully, if you're watching this, that means I've sold at least one DVD, and so have made maybe a small amount of money back. But, yeah. So lots of people helped out, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show, and continue watching it. And see, there's your name at the bottom. You! So thanks a bunch for watching, and continuing to enjoy the series, and I'll talk to you next time.